Direct News TV. July 2, 2023. Russia-Ukraine updates: Moscow launches drone attacks on Kyiv. Ukraine says 8 drones and 3 cruise missiles deployed by Russia were shot down over Kyiv and the surrounding area. Poland to send 500 police officers to its border with Belarus after about 200 people allegedly tried to cross into the country. After mutiny, clouds hover over Wagner's operations in Africa. Many observers in Western and Central Africa watched with piqued attention as the Wagner Group mutiny unfolded in Russia, curious about its significance on the mercenary force's vast operations on the continent. Since 2018, when Wagner arrived in Central African Republic, CAR, to fight off a rebel uprising, the armed group has expanded its footprint, later launching operations in Mali, Sudan and Libya. For African governments struggling to deal with escalating domestic insecurity, Wagner became a lifeline. After the mercenaries helped CAR's President Faustin Archange Touadéra in 2018 against rebel forces, Russian became an official language taught in the country's schools, and Wagner leaders became dignitaries in the capital Bangui. In Mali, the military lost patience in a decade-long collaboration with former colonial master France in tackling insecurity from armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and signed up with Wagner instead. Who is the controversial Russian general Sergei Surovikin? The deputy commander of Russia's forces in Ukraine, Sergei Surovikin, has reportedly been detained over ties to Wagner paramilitary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. Who is Surovikin? Ultranationalists aim to restrict travel for Russian officials' families. The ultranationalist Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, LDPR, says it is working on a bill that will temporarily ban the travel of close relatives of high-ranking officials to unfriendly countries, the RIA Novosti state news agency reports. Russia considers all countries that have hit it with sanctions over its military campaign in Ukraine to be unfriendly. Quoting a member of the Russian Duma, Sergei Karjanov, RIA reported that restrictions may also affect, among others, law enforcement officers, judges, top managers of state corporations and the board of directors of the central bank. Now, when Russia is forced to confront a group of Western countries led by the United States that provoked a conflict in Ukraine, such journeys are not only inadmissible, but also dangerous, RIA quoted Karjanov as saying. Prigozhin-controlled Russian media group shuts amid mutiny fallout. Yevgeny Prigozhin's media holding group is to shut down, the director of one of its outlets says, highlighting the mercenary chief's worsening fortunes a week after the collapse of a brief mutiny staged by his Wagner Group fighters. Patriot Media, whose most prominent outlet was the RIA fan news site, had taken a strongly nationalist, pro-Kremlin editorial line, while also providing positive coverage of Prigozhin and his Wagner Group. I am announcing our decision to close down and to leave the country's information space, RIA fan director Yevgeny Zubarev said. He gave no reason for the decision. Russian newspaper Kommersant reported on Friday that the country's communications watchdog Roskomnadzor had blocked media outlets linked to Prigozhin, without elaborating. Ukrainians and Russians flee to Bali. For decades, Bali has been known as a tourist's paradise. But in the last 2 years, it has attracted a new group of travelers. Thousands of Ukrainians and Russians have fled to the island to escape the war in Ukraine. Al Jazeera's Florence Lui reports from Bali, Indonesia. Russia aerospace sector hit by Ukraine war, UK. The United Kingdom says the war in Ukraine has been exceptionally challenging for Russia's aerospace community. The sector is struggling under international sanctions. Highly trained specialists are being encouraged to serve as infantry in the Roscosmos Space Agency's own militia, the British Ministry of Defence said on Twitter, referring to Russia's aerospace body. It noted that the head of the Russian Aerospace Forces, General Sergei Surovikin, had not been seen since the abortive mutiny by the Wagner Group of mercenaries, for which he had served as a point of contact with the Russian Ministry of Defense. Poland says it will beef security on Belarus border. Poland says it will send 500 police officers to its border with Belarus. The Polish border guard on Sunday said 187 people tried to cross into Poland from Belarus illegally on Saturday. Due to the tense situation on the border with Belarus, I have decided to bolster our forces with 500 Polish police officers from preventive and counterterrorism units, Minister of Interior Mariusz Kaminski wrote on Twitter. They will join 5,000 border guards and 2,000 soldiers guarding the security of this border. Ukraine says Russian missiles, drones destroyed over Kyiv. Ukraine's Air Force says it shot down 3 cruise missiles and 8 attack drones deployed by Moscow's forces overnight, in Russia's first attack on Kyiv in 12 days. The Air Force said it destroyed all air targets, 8 Iranian drones and 3 Caliber cruise missiles. Ruslan Kravchenko, head of the Kyiv Regional Military Administration, said 3 private houses were damaged by falling debris in the region. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.